People do in these situations that they put the drum patterns in the blocks instead of in the.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. That's actually what we might need to do if we want to use this, because like I don't know how else to fix something that it's starting from scratch for not doing. Spoiler alert: we did end up starting from scratch with another sample, and this is what it sounds like.
Yes, I'd forget it all once in bed with you.
Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. It's your girl OG Chizzy Beats, and as you can see, I'm in a different setting. I'm in New York and I'm with my boy Sofloliam. He's up in New York visiting, and I was like, why not collab and do something together? So today we're going to be showing you guys how we made a Kanye-esque type beat. So if you guys are interested in finding out how we made that, go ahead, keep watching, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment, and let's go ahead and get into the cook up.
So this is the part that we chopped up a little bit, and originally we actually had a little bit of difficulty getting it in time, but we managed to tweak it. We EQ'd it a little bit. We made it bleed together a little bit, and it sounded a lot more smoother. So this is how it sounds like.
So once we heard that, we really knew that we wanted to add some chords to this. So my boy Liam started to click in some stuff, and he's going to talk a little bit about that process.
So I actually don't know that much music theory. I just use my ear. I can tell what's in key and what's out of key, but I can't tell you what chords are like which. But I just pretty much clicked everything in until I got these chords right here. I actually started off with the first 3 chords right here, and I had an original chord ending here, but she wasn't really feeling it, so we cut that out, and it actually was a smart idea. We got a little bit of a better groove and a little bit better progression. So this is what it sounded like.
Okay, so like Liam was saying, he just clicked it in by ear, which is honestly what I usually do to start off a chord progression. But when we actually break down what he does, what he was doing, it does fall in line with music theory. So for example, this first chord right here is a major chord. We know it's a major chord because it has the 3-2 spacing, and this note right here, the D sharp, is just an octave of the D sharp right here. So it works out perfectly. This one right here, not actually sure what this chord is, but like from the pattern, it has the 4-3 spacing. I know that makes sense musically. I just don't know what the actual chord progression is called. And then
link it in the comments, please.
Right, link it in the comments. Let us know. Teach us. And then this last chord progression right here is a minor 7th chord with an octave of the C. So we know it's a minor chord because it has the 2-3-2 spacing, whereas the major chord has a 3-2 spacing. And again, we just took this C right here and brought it up at the top just to add some more depth to it. And these chords over here are basically the same. They're actually exactly the same. We just added this note right here to give it some spacing. Here we're using FL keys just because I actually don't have Nexus on my computer, but using Nexus, this is what it sounds like.
For those who are interested in the preset, it's actually in Nexus pianos, and it is the Nexus Grand Piano, and it's with the reverb and delay turned off.
So once we had the piano and our sample figured out, the next thing that we wanted to add was another melody. So what I did was I went into FL keys and I just kind of like whistled this melody out and then plugged it back here into FL keys, and this is what it sounded like. So once I heard that, I really loved how that sounded, but we wanted to layer it up with another lead sound. So we went into Purity, which he has, and we chose like this whistly lead. I don't know what it's called, but it really added to the texture of the sample, and this is what it sounded like.
So the preset for that one is actually Air and Dimension in Purity. You can find it in Lead Synth.
So all together, this is what the beat sounds like so far. All right, so we really loved how that sounded, and then Liam had the idea to add this synth bass that really took this beat to the next level and really shaped it into a Kanye beat.
So I was originally just clicking around in FMA or just looking for any VST that had a synth bass because I thought I didn't have any, but we found under FMA, it's under polylead, and as you can see, it's not following the root notes of the chords, but it's in the chord progression, so it still ended up sounding really good, and this is what it sounds like. So at this point when we added the bass, immediately after that I knew we were heading into that Kanye direction, and usually after that he always has background textures a lot, like choirs or anything like that, so I told her that we actually needed to find a good choir preset, and she happened to have Contact, which had a really great preset, choir A. I don't know where it's under, but
yeah, so I recently got Contact, so I'm not too great with the setup of it, but it's under factory library. Under choirs, I went to this preset called choir, and they have a whole bunch of different like enunciations of choir saying like a letter, so I chose choir A. And again, all we did was that we just layered it up using the same chord progression that we used for the piano, and altogether this is what it sounds like. So that choir really filled up the frequencies that we needed to fill out the beat, and all together with the synth bass, the choir, the piano, and the sample, this is what we had. All right, so we really loved how that sounded, but I knew we needed a second chop just for some versatility in the beat. So I went back into the sample and found this chop that I loved, and this is what it sounds like.
And when we stop the hands of time. And when we stop the hands of time.
So once we had that second chop, we were ready to go ahead and get into the drums, and I'm going to play the drums for you guys first, and then we're going to break them down element by element. So this is what the drum pattern sounds like all together.
So I started off with the kick drum, and originally, what you previously heard with the 808, we actually weren't even going to have an 808, but we added that in last second because I was like, we needed something to slap to it. So this is the kick drum pattern. So after that, the next thing I added was the open hat. This is what this sounds like. So after that, I added a clap. It was originally a snare, but I swapped it out because I didn't like how aggressive it sounded. I wanted a little bit more light and a little bit more, I guess, filling out more of those higher frequencies. So this is what it sounds like. You can find that clap in the DJ Dahi drum kits. So originally we only had it at a two-step hi-hat pattern, and if you could see below, the velocity for the actual volume of the hi-hats are randomized, which was her idea, because it was really just a robotic two-step. But after we added the 808, I was like, oh, we should probably add some rolls to make, you know, a little bit more bouncy. So that's what this sounds like. So the last thing we ended up adding was the 808, and I just looked at Chizzy and said, you want to use this 808? Like, why not? And she's like, yeah, sure. So we actually originally used the Zay Pierre 808 out of the Pierre Bourne drum kit, but we switched it to this Wheezy 808 out of the Wheezy drum kit because it was just louder. So this is what this sounds like. And the pattern, for the most part, was her idea. I just made some tweaks and took maybe a note or two out and added one or two more, but it was all her idea.
So yeah, once we had that, I felt like the beat really had like all the frequency levels that it needed. And the only thing that I wanted to do were some small tweaks. So for example, for moving from the verse into the bridge, we added a crash and a reverse crash just to build tension and then release it. And then for our intro and our outro, we went back into the sample to look for some different chops. And I found this really cool part where Marvin was talking about, I don't know, somebody, I guess, nagging him, for lack of a better word. And this is the chop, right, keep it PG. And this is the chop that we ended up using.
Yes, I'd forget it all once in bed with you.
And as you can see, that really transitioned very well into the verse.
And for the outro, actually Chizzy ended up picking the exact part, but I didn't feel like we should just have it just the exact outro at the end. So what we did was added gross beat, and that's what this sounds like. Very chopped and screwed-esque.
Okay, y'all, so that is the beat. That is our process of how we came up with this very Kanye-esque type beat. So if you guys enjoyed this, and if you enjoyed me cooking up with my boy Liam, go ahead, hit the like button, leave a comment. Let me know down in the comments what you guys want to see from me next, and if you want to see me continue to work with other artists and stuff like that. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you have a good day. Go ahead and follow my boy Liam on Instagram. It's going to be plugged somewhere around here, and I will see you guys in the next video.
Yes, I'd forget it all once in bed with you.